Hello everyone, this is Suresh from Azure ADB. Today our topic is how to filter data using year, month and day functions. So the date column must be of either data type or timestamp type for these methods to work efficiently. If your date column is a string, so you must first convert it to date type using cache method or to underscore date function or using to underscore timestamp functions. So to perform these operations, that means year, month, and day. So our input column should be of date type. So either date type or timestamp type. So first I'm importing required functions here. So mainly year, month, day, day of month, and concat underscore ws current date. And for doing some aggregation, I'm importing count and sum here. So first I'm creating one sample data frame. So my data is this one. So in this, I have three columns. So one is ID, transaction underscore date, and amount. So by using spark.create data frame, I'm creating the data frame. So once I create by this method, so my this column transaction underscore date column will be by default as string data type. So first I'm converting that date column, string date column to date type. So for that I'm using with column transaction underscore date. That means same column I'm overwriting. Here I'm writing sales of DF. So my data frame name is sales underscore DF of transaction underscore date. And on this column, I'm using cached method, cached date. So that means I'm converting to date data type. So now my data frame has by my input column is this one date column. So transaction underscore date. So now on top of this, first what I'm doing the filter by using only year. So that means from this data frame, I want to return all the records from 2025 year. So for that, what I'm doing, so this is my sample data frame. On top of this, I'm using filter function. So inside filter function, I'm writing the condition. So as per filter syntax, what is the syntax is filter, and inside that we need to pass the argument as condition. So that my condition is year of transaction underscore date. So that means from this transaction underscore date column, for each value, first I'm extracting the year, that is 2022. So if that 2022 is equal to 2023, then it will filter only those records. So if I explain this one with PPT, so here year of transaction date, as I told, so each date from each date value, first it will extract the year. So that means these first values. So if this value is equal to 2023, then it will print the uh, values here, or you can say rows here. So if you go first record, so here year is 2022. So that is not equal. So here also 2022, this also not equal. And if you come whatever highlighted here, so these are 2023. Say 2023. And only these four records, it will print here. See here only 2023 record. So it don't bother about month and date. It purely filtering based on year. So next we'll see one more condition. This is by using filter by year. So this I need to correct it 2023. Okay, so next I am going to filter by month. So here I want to return all the records from May. So here it bothers about only May. So year and date can be anything. So for that, what I'm doing, sample data frame dot filter, and inside that what condition I'm writing. Since my month should be May, so I'm writing here month of transaction date. That means from each and every date value, first it will extract month value. So suppose in this date, month is 05. So if that month is equal to 5, then it will filter only those rows. Now again, if you go and see here, this is my sample data frame, and here my condition is month of transaction date. So here each and every date, from each and every date value, it will extract month. And if you see here, first two are 1, and up to here, month are 1, January. So our requirement is 5. So here also 2. So here only one record we have, that is month with 5. So here also 2, 3 is 7. So it will print only this particular value, only which month is 5. So that's why here it is mentioned, it bothers only uh, May, that is month 5. So year and date can be anything. So next we'll see how to filter by day. So I want to return the records where day is equal to 2. So for this, what I'm doing, sample data frame, filter. So inside filter, day of month of transaction date. So on this column, I want to get the date, each date. Suppose this is the date value. So from this, last one is the day. So here you can write function either day or day of month. If whatever here extracted date is equal to 2, then only those records it will print here. If I show here again, see here, this is my sample data frame. So this is my sample data frame. So here I am filtering based on day of month. If my day of month day of month is equal to 2, then it will print here. If you come from first value, day means this one, last value. So here one is there, so it will ignore this one. So here we have 3 2's. Day is 2. So first it will print these 3 values, first 3 values. Next here 3119. So it will ignore these values. Next we have 2. So these 2 will print here. And here 10 is there, it will ignore. So total 5 rows will get here. So which has all the days as. So next we'll go for other scenario. So as of now, we saw how to filter separately, individually, like year wise, month wise, day wise. Now we'll see how to filter by two combinations, both year and month. Suppose I want return only January 2023 data. Since I am giving two conditions, year and month, so inside filter condition, I am writing two conditions. So first one is year. If you see, my year should be 2023. So that means for each date value, first I'm extracting year value. So that means year of transaction underscore date. If this value is equal to 2023. So this condition need to satisfy. At the same time, for January, between first condition and this is second condition, I'm using AND operator. So why I'm using AND operator? because I want to satisfy both the conditions. So after and since I want month, I given here month of transaction underscore date. If this value is equal to 1, that means January is equal to 1. So that means if any particular date, it has year of 2023 and month of 1, then I want to filter it out here. So we'll see here in this example. So this is filter by year and day. So this condition. So first it will extract the year. First it will go for only 2023. So if you see 2023, we have only these records, highlighted records. So this is one condition. And other condition is the month should be January. Since 2023, we have all values with January. So it printing all these four values here. Suppose by any chance in 2023, mm, if we have with a different month, maybe February or March, then it will filter those values. Suppose assume that in these four values, suppose one value you have different month. So, different month, maybe some February or March. You think that other than January, then it will print only these three records. First one and second, only three records will get. Okay, so this is about how to filter based on year and day. So next scenario is how to filter by using specific year, month, and day. That means all the values. Suppose I want to return the data for 2nd January 2023. So here I have year also is there, month also is there, date also is there. So that means my inside filter condition, I need to write three conditions. So in this first condition is year. If you see this first condition is year. So year of transaction underscore date is equal to 2023. So first need to satisfy 2023. And second condition is month is January. So for that, month of transaction date is equal to 1. That means January. And the third condition is date is 2. So day of month transaction underscore date is equal to 2. So and in between each condition and I given AND operator. So why I given AND operator is I want to satisfy all three conditions. So inside this filter condition, I want to satisfy all these three conditions. So then only I want to print the values. If you see filter by specific year. Filter by specific year. So my first condition is 2023. So in 2023, we have generally total 4 records are there. So these three plus this record also. And my next condition is month should be 1. And if you see first year 2023, next month is 1. So as of now, these all four rows, it's satisfying. Next, if you come to day, day should be 2. See here, day is 2, but this particular record is 3. So that is the reason it ignoring because it's satisfying only 2. Year and month only it's satisfying. Day is not satisfying. So only these three records are satisfying all these three conditions. So these three rows it will print here. So next scenario is how to filter using direct comparison with your date string. That means filter based on a specific date. That means as of now, whatever we have data frame, it is with uh, having date column and its a data type is a date. Suppose in case if your column has string type, Your values will be in standard format, year, month, date, but uh, s- sometimes means suppose if you assume that while creating this data frame, initially it will be in string type. But if you see this date format, it is in default format, that is year, month, date. But only thing is it is in string type. So then those cases what to handle. So one thing is how we can compare is this is my sample data frame and this is filter, and inside filter I am mentioning the column. So that is my this one transaction underscore date column. And here I am giving second condition, that is lit. So lit I am defining some custom value 2025 January 1st. So if you use a lit function, so it will consider as a string. The date value will be string. Why? Because inside lit we are using single quote. So since this is string value, that one I'm converting to date type. So why? Because whatever I'm selecting this column, it is a date type. So these values are date type. Suppose if you don't convert uh, this string to date, then it will throw you error because of data type mismatch. So now this lit value is converted to date type. Now what it will see, each and every record of transaction underscore date column, it will compare with this value 2025 January 1st. If these values are greater than this value, then it will print only these records. And if you see here, filter based on specific date. Okay, so this one filter based on specific date. Now condition is we want to filter the records which are greater than 2025 January 1st. So first we'll see 2025. So these are all 2000 less than 2025. So we want records more than 2025. So all these records it will ignore up to here. Next we have 2025, this one. See 2025 one record, 2026 three records. And one more thing is 2025 January 1st. So whatever we have records, it is after January only, January 1st of 2025. So we'll get an output as these four rows. So next scenario is, so as of now we saw about how to filter the date column values based on individual, like how to filter based on year wise, how to filter based on month wise, how to filter based on day wise, and a combination year and date, and all three year, month, and date. Okay, so we saw different combinations, but in real time, what is the best practice to follow? So in real time projects, how we'll follow means that means how we'll filter is this is my sample data frame, and here is filter, and inside filter I am directly mentioning the column name. That means this column name, and if it is equal to 2023 1 2, so then it has to filter the values. So very simple. So here we are not giving any conditions like year, month, date. Simply we are mentioning the date column. So now you see this one best practice. So here we want to find the records which is equal to 2023 1 2. So first we will list down what how many records are there starting with year 2023. So initially we have total 4 records, and next condition is 1 January. So up 2023 January, total 4 records satisfying. Next, if you come to 02. So 02 satisfying only these three records. Since it is 03, it will ignore. So these three records it will print here. So this is about the best approach. So next scenario is how to filter based on date range. So the syntax can be written in multiple ways. So in this first method is first I'm defining the start and end date because I want to filter the data on date range, or you can say date range or between some date values. So in tuple, I'm defining the date values, that is starting date and end date, and this variable I'm passing here. That means df.filter. Inside filter, my condition is this is my date column. For this date column, I'm using between function. So dot between, and inside between, I'm passing this variable dates. So what will happen? The records will be filtered from this data frame only between these two date range. Suppose, and similar way, suppose I want to, instead of displaying all the records, I want to know the count. Between these two range, I want to know the count. So same condition, instead of display, we can use the count method. So this is one method. So second method is df.filter. Inside that, we have to provide date column name and dot between, and inside between will directly provide start date and end date. This is method 2. So method 3 is start date and end date. We are defining as separate variable, and those variables we are passing inside this between function. So df.filter, and here if your column is direct date column, then you can pass only column name. Suppose if your column is string type, then you use this one, to underscore date on this particular column, and you provide the format so that it will convert string data type to date data type. Dot between, in between, we are passing start date and end date, these two variables. So these are all the three different methods, methods of writing syntax for finding the date range. So now this is my sample data frame. Here I'm using filter. So in this I'm using, among these three methods, I'm using this one, second method. So in second method, in this filter condition, what I'm doing, first I'm defining the column name, and I want to get the records in this column between this range. So what will happen? I will get the records only between this range. If I see example, so how to filter based on date range. So my starting date is 2023 January 1st. So 2023, how many records we have? Total 4 records. And 2023 to 2025. So 2023, 2024 we have 2 records. 2025 one record is there. And this 2026 it will ignore. 2022 it will ignore, and it will check only in between. So 2023 January 1st is there. So here 2023 January 2nd is there. So, and it is up to 2025 December 31st. So it will print all the records in between this range. That means I am filtering last 2 years records here. So this scenario mainly will use while working with testing, unit testing. Suppose if you are working in ACK environment, you can say acceptance environment. So there we'll load 6 months of data for doing functional testing and UAT, UAT testing. For doing this testing, we load 6 months of data in acceptance. So while doing FT, functional testing and UAT, you will write some scenarios code in the form of SQL to check, to validate whether data is coming correctly or not. So while writing the code, so we will use this filter condition. Okay, so that we'll get only 6 months of data. Okay, so why we'll use in between? So once we create the pipeline, first we load full load. That means very first day full load will do. That means this 6 months data will load. So second day onwards, pipeline will automatically runs. Every day will do schedule, and second day onwards, incremental load will happen. But your functional testing and unit testing, they will take some time to do. Some 2 days or 3 days it will do. So by that time, your incremental data also will be loaded. So, but they want to check only for 6 months data. So they will do this filter condition. So this is acceptance environment for 6 months. If you are in prod, then that full load will be depends on project requirement, either 1 year, 1.5 year, or 2 years. You assume that in prod environment, you are loading full load of 2 years and you want to filter that 2 years data, then this is the example. So filter between 2 years, 2023 to 2025. So next scenario is how to filter based on current date. So that means sample data frame filter, and this is my date column. Call of transaction underscore date is equal to current date. So earlier we given some hard coded value. So instead of hard coded value, I want to filter the records only relevant to today. That means you assume that yesterday full load is happened for 6 months and today incremental load is happened. So I want to check only today's data. Like I want to check how many records today happened incremental load. Only those records I want to see. Then you can write this filter condition like this. So based on this date column, I am filtering related to only today's date. So that I will come to know today how many records got loaded. So if I see here, so it is based on current date. So you assume that today date is 2026 310. So today date is this one, current date. So current date is this one. So it will check each and every value of transaction underscore date. This column is called transaction underscore this column. It will check each and every value if it is equal to current date. Current date means this one, 2026 310. So only those records it will filter out. So based on this table, today the data is loaded only one record. So that is the meaning. So next scenario is how to filter based on date difference. That means I want to get the rows where the difference between transaction date, that means this one, and current date is greater than, here I mentioned 30, actually it is 1000 days. 1000 date. So earlier condition is I'm filtering only based on today's date. That means current date. But here, first it will calculate the difference between transaction date. That means this date and today date. If the number of days is greater than 1000, I want to print only those records. This we can use it um, maybe for last 1 month data or last 1 week data. So this kind of data we can filter it out. So how we can do is for knowing difference, date difference, I'm importing date difference function here. From sample data frame, I'm using dot select star means I will get these three columns. So this is my sample data frame. On this sample data frame, I'm creating one new column, that is a days underscore difference. That is this one. How I'm creating this column is here I'm using date difference, and date difference we need to provide two arguments. That means starting date and end date. So two dates we need to provide so that it will give you the date difference in days. As integer value it will provide. So inside date difference, I am writing today's date. That means current date. And one more column is call transaction date. So what will happen now? Today's date is this one, 2026 310. So what it does is it will minus call transaction of date. This value it will minus with today's date, and it will print number of days difference. Now what I will do, I will try to add here today's date also. Here select star. At the same time, I'll try to add one more column, that is current date as today. So that what will happen here, one more column will get generated. So before that, I will run this data frame sales underscore df. I will run these functions first. Then I will run this data frame so that our input data frame is generated. After generating, I will rerun that cell again. Okay, so my input data frame is ready. Now what I'll do, I'll try to rerun this one. So now what will happen here, one more column will get added, that is as today. Okay, so select star means from our input data frame has these three columns, and on top of that I created two columns, that is by using current underscore date alias as today. So today date is this one, 2026 310, and second column is this one, days underscore difference. Now what will happen, current date means this one, this date minus this one. So how many years difference is there? Almost 2 years. So it will calculate in the form of days. These 2 years it will calculate in the form of days. This is the number of days difference between these two dates. At the similar way, it will print for each and every date. Every date value difference between these two dates. It will print number of values. And if you see at the last record, transaction underscore date, today's date is there. So this date minus this date is 0. And this is February 2nd. This date and this date it is 36 days difference. After generating this one, now what I want to do is I want to filter only the days which are greater than 1000. 1000 days. So this cell I written to understand this one, how this date difference will generate and how to filter this. To understand this purpose, I written this. Otherwise, we can directly write this line of code. So on top of this data frame, from this data frame, what I'm doing, I'm writing filter condition. What is filter condition is date difference. So up to here, this is same. Up to here, what is this? Up to here, what is this? This one, this column. So this column, it will check each and every value of this record. It will compare this value with this one. So whatever records has greater than 1000, it will filter. If you see here up to here, these records are greater than 1000. So it will print only those records. So same thing we can see here. Yeah, here. So here call transaction date. So each and every record, it will check with this one. I supposed to mention here, this one here. I mistakenly mentioned here. So here it will check. So this piece of code from here to here, this is the output. So 1529 is greater than 1000. So that means these are all 1000 values. So which are all greater than 1000. And these are all less than 1000. So it will ignore these rows. So only these rows it printing here. Okay, so next final thing is same thing how to write in SQL expressions. So here this is our sample data frame and dot filter, and inside filter, suppose I want to filter the records only 2023 records, the year 2023 records I want to filter. So inside filter condition, if you want to write the SQL statements, so you give mention start and ending with double quote, and you write your SQL syntax here. So year of transaction underscore date is equal to 2023. So that means if any of the records it is equal to 2023, then only those records it will display here. Okay, so I think I'm not added here. Otherwise, what you can see is 2023. So in this is our input data frame. So what it does is it will check what are the records starting with 2023 year. So in total records, we have only 4 records. The 4 records only belongs to 2023. It will check only year because we mentioned only year condition. So for satisfying 2023 year, we have these 4 records. So these 4 records only it printing here. Say 2023. Since we mentioned a year, it won't bother about month and year. It will filter only based on year 2023. So these are all the different filter methods uh, to filter date column based on year, month, and date. So these are all the different approaches we can do, different filter conditions. So that's all about this video. If you really like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Hello everyone, this is Suresh from Azure ADB. Today our topic is how to extract year, month, and day from date column. So extracting date components from an existing date or timestamp column by using these 3 syntaxes. Suppose if you want to extract an year from your date column as an integer, so we have to use year And inside that argument, we need to provide column name. And at the similar way, if you want to extract the month as an integer, so we have to write month, and inside that we need to provide argument as date column. At the same way, if you want to extract the day of the month as an integer, so we can follow either of the syntax. So one is day of the month, and inside that we need to provide date column, or simply day of date column. So both will give you same result. We can use either of the both. So first what I'm doing, I'm importing required functions here. So mainly year, month, day, day of month. So these both are same. And for doing some aggregation, I am importing count, sum, and concat underscore ws. So first scenario is how to extract year, month, and day from your date column. So for this, I'm creating one sample data frame. So this is my data, and I'm creating with single column. So my column name is order underscore date, and order underscore date, it has these date values. So since I'm creating single column, so I have single value with comma. So by using spark.create data frame, I'm creating the data frame initially, and here data, I'm passing this one. And since it is single column, I'm defining here only. So if I create initial data frame by using this code, so my column will become create as string data type. So to convert the string data type column to date type column, so here I'm doing conversion by using with column on this order date column. So here I'm defining the call of order underscore date, and here I'm using dot cast date method. So after converting this one, so my column now it is printing as date column. And if you see data type, this is a date type. So next, what I'm doing on top of that, so here for extracting these three items like year, month, and day, so we can follow either of these method. So method one is from SQL.functions. So we can directly import year, month, day, and day of the month. So here you can write day of month. Okay, so first we can import these functions. Then on top of sample data frame, here I am using with column method. In this with column, here I'm extracting four columns. So one is year, month, day. So day is two columns. Why? Because here I'm trying with two different functions. So one function we have this one day, one more is day of the month. So both will give you the same result. So either you can use day of the month of call or day of call. So to show the difference, I'm creating both the columns. Maybe you can change this one. This is a day and this is day of month for simplify. So now syntax is, so for generate extracting year column, so we need to write year, and inside we need to provide the date column. So here date column is order underscore date. So call of order underscore date. And similar way for extracting month, so month of argument as column date. And similar way for extracting date, so we need to provide inside date column name here. And similar way date of month, and inside that we need to provide column of date. So this is one method, like first importing the functions from SQL.function, and second method is If you don't want to import all these things, so you can simply import PySpark.sql, import functions as f. So you can mention f here, f dot year, f dot month, f dot day, f dot day of the month. And inside that, you provide f dot column name, date column name. Okay, so you can follow either of the method. So here what I followed is I imported the functions here. Then I'm defining this one, year, month, day, and day of the column. So all these things I'm extracting on top of this date column, order dot date. So on top of sample data frame, so I'm generating 4 additional columns. That is year, month, day, and day of the month. So if I see my initial data frame, if I take screenshot, so this is my initial data frame. So on top of this, what I will get is, so on top of this data frame, I am generating 4 more additional columns. Okay, so since order column already there, so no need of screenshot. So now if you see here in first column, I am extracting year. So from this date, what is the year? 2026. So that is printing here. And a similar way for second row, here year is 2025. So here it extracted. So here also 2025. Here these two also 2025. Okay, so all the year values it extracted here. At the similar way, in month column, so this one, it is extracting month here. If you see in this particular date, so month is 02. So we are getting 2 here. Here month is 12. So we are getting 12 here. And these three, this month is 01. So we are getting ones here. And a similar way, I'm generating one more column that is a day. In this value, date is 16. So I'm getting 16. So here 31, date is 31, I'm getting 31. So here 1 is there, 1. Here date is 10, 10. Here 28 is there, 28. And similar way, day of the month, this also will give same values. If you see these two, it will give you same values because function is different, but purpose is same to extract the date values from date column. And if you observe all these three, all these 4 are integer columns. See, all are integer column. So our input column is date type and whatever extracted values are integer type. So same thing it is mentioned here. If you see initial, so whatever you extract here, all are integer types. So now we completed up to here. So next, whatever we performed means whatever generated these 4 additional columns on top of existing data frame and it has date column. Now I want to do same thing by using current date function. That means based on today's date, I want to generate the columns. So for this, I'm using SQL here, %SQL. So here I'm writing select. So first I'm generating today's date here. Today's date I'm printing here by using current underscore date. So my column name is today, that is this one. So I'm printing today's date. And from this column, I want to extract the year. So for that, what I given year, as per syntax, first we need to write the year. So inside that we need to provide the date column name. Since we are using current underscore date, so I'm passing this function. So year of current underscore date. So that means from this value, this year it will extract here 2026, and at the same time month of current date. So current date means this value will get, so month of current date means here 2 is there, so that 2 it print here. So similar way, day of current date, that means from this value day is 21, so that it prints here. And similar way, week of year. So week of year means this particular date falls on which week of the year. So that means this 2000 February 21, 2026 February 21. February 21 means it comes here. And if you see this is falls on which week, so week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8. So we are getting week 8 as the week of year. At the similar way, suppose I want to get the quarter. So this particular, that means today's date falls on which quarter? Since today date is 2/21, that means February, it falls on first quarter. So first quarter is from January to March. So here it printing 1, quarter as 1. So next thing is, here I'm importing few functions here. Same thing, only quarter I imported. So we have two more methods here. So whatever here generated by using current underscore date. So same thing I want to try with uh, by using PySpark. So here I tried with the SQL. So here I want to try with PySpark. So in PySpark, so again we have two different methods to generate same thing. So in this first method is by using spark dot create data frame, and inside that this is first a list of tuple I'm passing. So while creating data frame, so we can use different methods. So one is a list of tuple or list of list or a dictionary we can use. So here I'm using list of tuple, and in this tuple I'm passing only one record, one value I'm passing, and my column name is dummy. So why I'm passing only one is, so here I created one record, one value. So here also I want to generate one row. So for that I given one. So my output will be like this. Column name is dummy, and it will generate one row, single row. Since I mentioned one, it will generate single row. So now on top of this data frame, df.select, I am using same code here. So whatever I written earlier, current date, year, month, day, week of year, quarter, same thing I'm writing here. So we'll get same result. So here in this select, I'm not given this column name dummy. So that's why it's not showing here dummy. So if you want to dummy, if you want column dummy also, then you write select statement, you add this dummy also. So you will get dummy column also here. So this is one method like spark.create data frame, writing tuple. And one more method is, so spark.range1. So if you write spark.range1, what will happen? Spark by default, it will give you the column name as ID. And since we mentioned range as 1, so since range will start from 0, it printing 0. And on top of this data frame, df.select, same line of code I'm passing. So now what will happen? So df.select will get same result will get. And here also, here while writing this code, we are getting ID column. But here I'm not added this ID. So that is the reason you are not getting that ID. So if you add ID Here in select statement, you will get ID also. But why we are writing this one? Spark dot range one and here list of tuple as one because we need one row. That means this output is one row. Suppose if you want 5 rows here, then you can change to this one to 5. And at the same way, spark dot range you can change to 5. So that instead of one row, you will get 5 rows. Okay, so now we'll start two different methods. So next scenario is how to create a new date column using year, month, day. So that means I have already one data frame. For that data frame, I want to add one new column that should generate year, month, and day. So that means a date I want to generate. So for that, what I'm doing, so I'm creating sample data frame. So my data is this list of tuples. So here I have 5 records and my column names are ID and date. So spark dot create data frame and this data I'm passing here and here column names are ID and date. So ID, date. So now if I create by using this one, what I will get, my date column will be string type. So to convert from string to data type, here I'm using with column method by using cast. So I'm changing this column by using cache method to date. So what will happen if you see here? So now my date column is date, not string. So on top of this data frame, so that means this data frame what will get? These two columns will get. So this is a date column. These two columns will get. So now on top of this data frame, that means on top of these two columns, I am adding one more column that is new underscore date. By using with column, I am generating new underscore date. And here I am using this concat underscore ws. So what is concat underscore ws is we can join multiple uh, columns by using separator as colon. Okay, so concat underscore ws. So in this, my first column is, that means my first value is year of column date. So year of column date means what? If you see here in this, suppose if you take this record, so here column date is this one, and in this value, year means what it is? 2022. And for that, I'm adding 1. So 2022 plus 1, 2023, I will get. So that is year. And so that means first it will generate year. And the second one is month. So month of call date. So from this, what is month? 01. Okay, so 01 plus 1, we are adding 1. So this 1 become 2. And at the same time, day of month, call of date plus 1. So this is 1, 1 plus 1 become 2. So and between these three values, since we are mentioning separator colon, so that we are getting here. So first it will generate 2023, then this colon, then this is 2, then colon, then this is 2. And similar way for everything. For remaining records also it will generate like this. Means it will generate similar way. But since it is concat underscore ws, we will get in data type as string. Okay, so this is one of the method we can create a new column with date values. So next scenario is how to group these date column using year, month, and day. So for this, I'm creating one sample data frame. So this is my data, and this data I created with three columns. So one is ID, this is ID, and second one is transaction underscore date, third one is amount. So if I create this one by using this function, so my date column will come by default string data type. So that one I'm converting here string to date type by using with column transaction date, that is this column, and sales underscore df, that is our this data frame, initial data frame. So from this data frame, we are selecting transaction underscore date. And by using cached method, we are converting to date. So if you see here, so that is the reason it's coming directly date type. Suppose if you print initially here itself display sales underscore df, this column will be as string type. Okay, so since I'm directly using with column with cache method, so it directly converted to date type. So now I have my data frame, and in this one column, I have with the date type, and I have this one integer column, that is amount. So on top of this data frame, I am going to perform some group by aggregate functions. So for doing aggregate functions, I am calling here sum and count. So here, this aggregation method, we can follow two different methods. So first method is on sample data frame. Sample data frame is this one, ID transaction underscore date amount. So on this data frame, I am directly doing group by, and inside that I am passing these three line of code. So one is for generating the year value, one more is for generating the month value, and third one is for generating the day. And on top of this group by, after generating these three columns, so that's how here it is created these three columns. So it created these three columns, that is year, month, and a day. After creating these three columns, I want to do aggregation. So what aggregation I want to do? So one is count. So under aggregation, I am writing two lines of code. So one is for count, one is for sum. So first I want to get the count. So here I'm giving count star, and alias name I given count. So that means column name is count. And the second one is sum of amount. That alias is total underscore sales. So by using these three columns, I'm generating these two columns. So now we'll see how this count is generated. Now, if you see sample data frame, this is our sample data frame, and we are doing aggregation based on year, month, and date. So that means, so whatever we have same date, then those two, it will get grouped by together. So 2022 01 01. So here we have two values. So here we have two values. If you see here, so 2022. So 2022, 2022, 1, 1. So that is this one, 2022, 1, 1. So that we have count as two rows we have. So that's why it's showing 2. And similar way, if you see the sum, since these two rows, it adding these two values, 100 plus 250. So here we are getting 350. So next we'll go for next aggregation. So this is our next 2023, 1, 2. So we have three values we have. 1, 2, okay, three values we have. So since we are doing aggregation based on year, month, date, so we have count is 3, and Amount is if you add these three values, 200, 450, 600, you will get. Count is 3 and sum is 600. And similar way, if you go for next aggregation, next one is 2023 1 3. So we have only one value here with this. So we'll get count as 1 and amount will be 150. If you see here, count is 1 and amount is 150. And if you go for next aggregation, 2024 to 1. So we have two values here. So now count is 2 and aggregation is 300 plus 200, 500. So count is 2, aggregation is 500. And next aggregation is 5th month. This value we have only one value. So count will be 1 and amount will be 500. So count is 1, amount is 500. And if you come next aggregation, 2026 to 2. So we have two values. That means count is 2 and amount is 300, 500. Sorry, 400. 250 plus 150, 300, 400. So count is 2 and amount is 400. Count is 2, amount is 400. Okay, so if you write inside group by, if you write these three functions, by default, it will generate these three columns. And on top of these three columns, it will generate these aggregation columns. So this is method 1. And what is method 2 is, first we'll generate the columns. This is our sample data frame. On top of sample data frame, we are adding these three columns. So one is year, month, day. So here is year of transaction date column, year of column, and month of date column, and day of month of date column. So now what will happen? It will add three columns. So these three columns it will add. So final underscore df. That means these three columns, and on top of that we are doing group by. Okay, so group by of year, month, date. So these three columns and dot aggregation and these two count and sum. So result will be same. So only way of writing code is different. Okay, so next one is, as of now we saw about how to do group by separately. That means based on month, based on year, date, and month. So by giving separate conditions. Now we'll see how to do group by using full date. So if you only want daily grouping, so then what we can do is on top of our sample data frame, I'm using directly group by on column. So column name mentioning here, group by dot column and dot aggregation. I want these two aggregations. See here in group by condition, I'm not writing any separate conditions like year, month, date. So directly I'm selecting this column, date column, and I'm doing aggregation on this. So here also you'll get same result. Okay, so one way is grouping by year, month, and date. One more is grouping by full date. So these are all the operations we can perform on by using functions year, month, and day on date column. So that's all about this video. If you really like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.